Hello, gentlemen, sports fans alike. I'm Ruckus the Menace, and you're listening to the Ruckus and The Menace podcast. And let's go ahead and now just introduce my partner in crime here, Ruckus.
About time. God. How's it going, Spennis? I am Ruckus, the co-host partner in crime with my co-host Spennis, and tonight we got a very special episode of Ruckus and the Menace, episode number 27. It gets even better than what episode 26 was. Well, that's subjective, but still, I'm here with my homie Spennis. And Spennis, do you want to start off with what you've been up to?
Yeah, so kind of the pregame warm-ups here at this moment. As far as kind of like outside of like the standard work, home projects, wedding planning, and trying to figure out all the things for that. I've been doing some Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and actually was able to finally, after all of the mishaps that went along last week with trying to get into Overwatch 2, actually playing a little bit of Overwatch 2.
I've been having a lot of fun with that as well.
Yeah, that is it really a new game? No.
No.
Is it really all that new? No. Is it just kind of a second version of a game that's been around since 2016? Yeah, that's kind of the best way to describe it.
Yeah, instead of loot boxes, you now have a battle pass. And if you're playing it for the first time, I think you had to unlock the characters, or maybe they
Yeah.
took
Yeah,
that.
you got I think you have like 100 games, but because I played it back when it was kind of Overwatch 1, I
Yeah.
actually had all of the characters right out the gate. So, I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, same here.
But Ruckus, what all has been new with you?
Um, Not a whole lot. Really, I just been watching YouTube, and then I beat Trover Saves the Universe. It's a video game created by the co-creator of Rick and Morty. If you don't know what Rick and Morty is, it's an adult cartoon. Um, and then, but yeah, I beat Trover Saves the Universe over the weekend while trying to simmer down from recovering from a COVID booster shot. It is booster shot number 2 that I've had, and it wasn't too bad. Sunday I was very achy, but took a ibuprofen and I was all right. Um, and then as far as just everything else, I've just been learning more about my favorite hobby in 3D printing, and also just grinding through the work week, man. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all
And
I
I see you've
got.
been also playing Guardians of the Galaxy, which is really good. Like I was even impressed with it when
Dude, even if they don't have like the actors from the movies like Chris Pratt and Zoe
yeah,
Saldana.
Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, and Vin Diesel.
But like the voice actor for Rocket Raccoon kind of sounds like Bradley Cooper's voice, but it could have obviously been
Yeah,
someone else playing that. But even then, I
right.
couldn't tell a difference. But I love the personality of the characters in the game. It does not feel like a cheap ass knockoff from China. It feels genuine. Um,
Oh
and
yeah,
then and then I played a little bit of Battlefield. I just wait every week to for like new weekly challenges, and they added a new patch update, but like I'm still kind of like trying to not get burnt out from it. But other than that, I've just been trying to play games that I haven't played in a while and relive some single player days. Besides just going and playing multiplayer games with friends every day of the week.
yeah. I gotcha.
Alright, you ready for the
But why don't
starting
we get
lineup?
right to what we do best? Yeah, and our starting lineup, though we had probably some major things that we'll kind of get into kind of as we roll along. Our main part of the starting lineup is actually going to be a recap of the first round of the MLB playoffs
If you could even
and our
call it
preview
that.
of and our preview of this current one. So Ruckus, kind of, what's the biggest surprise that we had from the wild card weekend?
Well, the Cardinals flew away from the broom as it was trying to sweep them away, and they ended up actually getting swept themselves by I believe
The
the
Phillies.
the Phillies, and I don't know why I blanked there for a second, but yeah, the Phillies showed more uh just give than the Cardinals did, and it's kind of sad because when you get a player like Nolan Arenado and he's not playing up to what he normally plays, and I mean, mind you, he doesn't have a whole lot of postseason experience, but with what he has, he hasn't helped the Cardinals much. And Goldschmidt, they were all trying to hit dingers. They weren't really trying to keep the line
Yeah, that
moving.
it was playing outside of, it was too much of playing outside what Paul Goldschmidt was getting out of an MVP type season, and actually even Arenado having an MVP type season, where you're just trying to hit to get on base. I think the Cardinals probably got stuck in a two-game situation where they were trying for a little too much, and while the Phillies were trying to get just enough. And I
Yeah,
think for
and
me,
I was really pulling for the Cardinals too because it was the last season for both Molina and Pujols, and I
I
figured it
think
would be nice to have him at least to get the NLCS or DS.
yeah, and it's going to be uncertain as to whether Wainwright's going to give it another go either. I think that's uncertain too. But I was more surprised with, I was like, the Guardians sweeping the Rays. I mean, the Guardians like having to secure the sweep in a 15 inning game against the Rays that was pretty much 0-0 the entire time.
That game was so goddamn boring. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I had it in the background, and most of the time I would just hear like the static or like the air just blowing around the stadium, and then like the crowd not being as loud, and then just like random background noise. And then I wouldn't really see a whole lot of like scoring or people getting hits or whatnot. It was just like, oh, and then Bieber gets the 1-2, oh, and he strikes him out.
There
Or it
just
was
wasn't a lot. Like, it was one where it was so defensive, there was not a lot happening.
I was not like very impressed. I was like, okay, this is the first postseason game of the postseason, and I'm bored at work and trying to get through the day. Let's have this in the background, and then of course it gets really boring, and I'm like, okay, when do the Phillies and Cardinals play?
Yeah. But if you were talking like a masterclass of defensive baseball, that was your one to watch.
Yeah, it was fairly good. The Rays, obviously, like I said before, I didn't think they were gonna be as explosive, but it is what it is.
And then the best wild card series, we both said it, the Padres and Mets, because it went all three games. And then the divisional series, we both agreed on the entire National League for the division series matchup. I looked at it was truly of like East Coast versus West Coast. But our upset potential, we'll talk about later here in color commentary. As one of the questions is about it. So now that we kind of got outside of that, let's go right into our simulated games. And fantasy football this week went in favor for one of us, but not so much the other, due to a sheer amount of weird luck. And I'll let Ruckus go first because he had a lot to celebrate.
I it feels like just a normal day, and I'm not trying to be cocky about this. I'm just straight up thinking like, like I don't want to like dance on someone's grave of their team or anything like that. I just think it was a deserved win for me, and also I feel bad for my opponent. I almost beat him by double, so I won by 98 to 57. And that was because not only did Josh Allen have a heyday with Gabe Davis in that Pittsburgh game,
Kelsey only had 25 yards, but
but
four
four
of those catches
touchdowns.
on
Dude,
4 of those catches found the end zone. I was listening to New Heights,
yeah,
which
me
is the
too.
one
I've been listening to that too.
with
Shout out to New
the Kelsey
Heights.
brothers. I saw the TikTok where Jason and Travis were talking about it, and Travis just had like the funniest approach about it.
Yeah.
And I gotta give Travis Kelsey mad props for that, because that was genuinely funny.
Yeah, and like I did not see Kelsey actually getting 4 touchdowns, but normally I don't do this kind of thing, but I tried the FanDuel same game parlay because I was just curious. I was like, okay, let's experience this once and then not do it again. Like, and so I did a same game parlay. It was Kelsey had to get a touchdown, Clyde needed to get a touchdown, and then Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs needed to get one, and then the Chiefs had to win. The one
And
item I
you
did not get for that was Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting a touchdown. But either
and
way, I was happy we
that was just
won.
because Kelsey was getting them all.
And I kept on saying, "Come on, Clyde," and I was just like, "We won. I don't care." Like I wasn't gonna get 250 anyways. Like in money, it'd just be in bets. But I just wanted to try it at least once, just so that I
Yeah.
wouldn't be like, "Oh, I don't know about that," or I don't know. I just wanted to experience it at least once. I wasn't gonna develop a problem with it.
So what did that improve your record to, Ruckus? Are you 3-2 now, or are
I
you
am. Yes, I am. I am 3-2, and I did not mean to go on a random rant about sports betting, but here we are.
yeah,
But
but
yeah,
I
Kelsey and
fall
Allen almost equally had points. Like Allen had 36, and then Kelsey had 30. Like that is pretty damn close.
yeah. I run into the Josh Allen buzzsaw. But I
Bonsai is
still
ready.
but but I still fall, and I survived the thing. But I still fall to 2 and 3. And I lost in a nail biter yet again. This time I lost in a nail biter. This is the 3rd straight week where I've had a game come down to 5 points or less. Actually, let alone 2 points or less. As I lost this one by 1 point. And Justin Tucker's game-winning field goal was what separated it. Because of the distance of the field goal.
And why
But
couldn't
let
we
alone
snag Justin Tucker from the Ravens when we had the chance? Because how long has Justin Tucker been with the Ravens? Because whenever we got butt kicker was because we didn't want to pay suck up the extra money to keep him in Kansas City.
I think Tucker's been there his entire career.
But when did Tucker start? Let me look this up.
At least he's been around for a while. But I had great performances everywhere else to kind of cover the Josh Allen. The Cowboys defense went off. The Derrick Henry had a great game. Diggs, Olave, and everybody was serviceable enough. Andrews played well. I had everything go right except for quarterback, where I had a combined total between my 2 quarterbacks of 4 points.
Dude, this is his 10-year season.
Yeah.
This is
I mean,
his...
kickers have longevity in the league because they
right.
they are the Pirates who don't do anything.
I'm kind of curious to see how long Vinatieri's been going. Okay, let me see here. He's been 14 was Vinatieri's.
Well, I think also Vinatieri, entered the league much later in his career.
96.
Wait, he went from 96 to what was his last year?
2019. So he was with New England for till 2005, and then went to the Colts for the rest of that tenure.
Where he played for the rest of that. I mean,
and I think him and Pat McAfee went to the same college too. Or maybe
no,
that's not right. Never mind.
No, Vinatieri went to South Dakota State. Pat McAfee went to the great state of West Virginia.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I don't know what I
Pat
was thinking that.
McAfee was the WVU punter during the time when I was in high school.
He was putting the hammers down.
Yeah.
You can tell I watch that show from time to time.
But I did drop Jared Goff, and I'm like, and the next thing you know, that my very Christmas carol that I should be singing right now is all I want for Christmas is a good QB, a good QB, a good QB, because I most certainly don't have a good QB, and then I can win a fantasy football game.
Yeah, you kicked him to the curb. You broke up with Jared Goff. The bromance is no longer a bromance.
Well, Jared Goff was also on a bye week this week, so I kind of needed something because I don't necessarily want to experience the cooking of Russ right now, because right now, if I were to let Russ cook anything, in the words of Gordon Ramsay, it's raw. It's stone cold. It's
That's
undercooked. Get
that
out of the
that cow is
kitchen.
still mooing. The cow is still mooing. um, it's like
Put
it's been
two
a
pieces
week,
of bread.
man, and you haven't like replied to my text. What's going on, man?
Put two pieces of bread on each side of your face. What are you, an idiot sandwich? Oh, so now that even with our fantasy football seasons kind of now, and me making fun of my own expense of having quarterback issues, let's go to the high heat where we actually recap the actual football. All right, so Ruckus, what was the most impressive team for you this week?
My most impressive team would have to be, drum roll, please, the Indianapolis Colts. Yes,
Wait,
because
what?
they okay,
What?
okay, hear me out. Because not only did they got enough patience to deal with Russell Wilson. Yes, both offenses sucked ass that game. I'm not going to like pretend like I didn't watch the game. Um, but Russ Wilson did what Russ Wilson does best. He threw it in the end zone instead of killing time, and then the Colts decided to trap them, even though they were kind of a bad team too. But they decided to trap them, get to the other side of the field, and then go for um, a field goal, and then go for overtime later, and still win it against a team that should have beat them.
Oh yeah, because Russ had KJ Hamler wide open on the other side and wasn't even looking in that general direction.
Also, keep in mind they kicked the Chiefs' ass near the end, while we were shooting ourselves in the foot. So that's pretty impressive to take out one of the only other teams that could be technically be the best NFL team regardless. Yes, you could say the Bills are the best team based off of just how they are clicking right now, but the Chiefs are like on that same peak of the mountain, it seems.
But you're gonna say the most impressive team this week is the Indianapolis Colts.
I mean, they stopped
I
a offense that
I'm
wasn't doing anything. So.
yeah, but you didn't really. But Indianapolis was a team that stopped an offense that wasn't doing anything to going through a team that just really ultimately stopped the team by that was doing anything by really not doing anything. Wait, you just put your most impressive team being the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, because in reality, I completely goofed again on the impressive team thing. I thought I had everything, and then I didn't look at the next slide. But hey, we live and we
Yeah.
learn. And also, that wasn't a bamboozle. I legitimately just didn't have anything down, so I just kind of came up with something. So I
Yeah.
apologize, but
But
whatever.
I am going to say that for me, the most impressive team, I would have said the Giants, but I actually am going to go with the other team in New York. The Jets. Jets. Putting up a 40-point display offensively against the Miami Dolphins to win their second game in a row. Actually, wait a minute. No.
I think it
I
was the
might
Dolphins.
no. I think the point that I'm actually wanting to try and double check is that actually might have been their third game in a row. Been their third game in a row, not their second. Because it's their second game in a row. Yeah, actually I was right. It was their second game in a row because in between their victory against Cleveland and the victory against Pittsburgh, they lost to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But surprising, but I feel like a 40-point performance against a Miami Dolphins team that was depleted with injury. But I'm like, okay. I'm like, am I gonna go with the Niners like beating the crap out of the Panthers? No. Am I gonna go with the Eagles? No, they weren't that impressive. Am I gonna go with the Cowboys because their defense was playing solid? I mean, I could have. Am I
Yeah.
gonna go with the Chargers showing resilience? Am I gonna go with the Giants basically ruining Green Bay's day? I'm like, no, I'm gonna pretty much go with the team that put the most points on the board in a very, very surprising fashion, as I thought might, especially because the Jets were skidding. They had lost 12 in a row to AFC East opponents before Sunday's game in stunning the Dolphins.
Also, can I add something really quick? So,
Yeah.
yes, my impressive team is now the Bills, but the reason why I would have picked the Bills is mainly because they whipped the Steelers pretty bad, but also that offense is scary if you do not protect against it in the proper way. Kind of like how it was in the AFC divisional last year for the Chiefs. Whenever you had Tyron out and you had Dirty Dan, which he's not very good, but you had Dirty Dan. But yeah, I will stick
But
with
which
my
one of them
guns.
fellers is the real Dirty Dan?
Who you calling Pinhead?
Oh, I said nothing about Pinhead. I just
Yeah,
was
but
talking
isn't
about
like
which
the
one of them. It was
isn't
the
it
same thing. It was the same thing, but I was talking about. I was like, which one of them fellas is the real Dirty Dan? It had nothing to. I wasn't talking about Pinhead Larry.
anyways, who's our most disappointing team of the week?
Hmm. I see where you went, and as the Broncos offense not doing anything, so we kind of really don't need to do anything with your most disappointing team because we kind of already really went over it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I
But
also went on a dumb rant about how the Colts were the most impressive team, but go on.
but the most disappointing team, and I'm gonna call it out here, call it like I see it. It's the Detroit Lions.
Where's Megatron when you need him? Oh wait, he's retired.
You have the number one offense in the league. You're going up against the Patriots at Gillette with that number one offense in the league, and you're serving up a Krispy Kreme. You get blanked
Are
by
they
the
even
New
hot
England
and ready?
Patriots.
Are they even hot and ready, or are they just the stale ass ones from like an hour or two ago? You said Krispy Kreme, so I just had to ask.
I know, no, but usually the concept of hot and ready isn't. I mean, Krispy Kreme's one thing, but I thought more of the hot and ready. I was thinking more of Little Caesars when you were talking about that.
Oh,
Which,
well, they have a hot and ready
granted,
sign
Detroit.
thing on the app for Krispy Kreme too. Like dead ass. Like if you go on the Krispy Kreme
Yeah.
app and you select a location, it'll give you the hot and ready little lamp, so you aren't disappointed when you
No.
drive up to it.
Well, they're often. Well, the Detroit Lions offense was super stale, as they really did absolutely nothing.
Were there a couple dust bunnies added to the mix there too? You know, just chilling there.
What? So the Dustbuster could bust them?
Uh, no, not at least not yet.
You you're you're trying for too you're trying for a little too much here. You're trying for a little too much without me throwing a check at you.
Well, as long as he doesn't show up with the Bronco, I'm okay.
Again, why am I thinking with that O.J. Simpson?
Because you're in the right track. All right.
Well, but and I was a kid when the infamous Ford Bronco police escort was around, because I was about 4 years old when June 17th, 1994 was a thing. All right, so the most impressive player, where are you going with this?
I'm going with Marquez Valdez Scantling of the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, I could have gone Travis Kelsey, but that would have been too easy, as Marquez had a game of his own as well, um, and he showed up. That's just straight up how I'm gonna say it.
Okay, for mine, I would have loved to have given the honorable mention to De'Ami Brown. 2 receptions, 105 yards, and two tutties. But Gabriel Davis, with with 2 receptions out of his 3, did just a little bit better.
Can I
Gabriel
also?
Davis
Sorry, go ahead.
had two of his 3 receptions for 2 touchdowns, had 160 yards out of a 3 reception, 171-yard day. Gabriel Davis had 2 of those receptions go for 98 and 62 yards for touchdowns. So that to me just screams like Gabriel Davis was on his, like, I'm going to catch the ball and I'm going to score.
Yeah, and also, I forgot to pull up the stats for MVS in the past, but he for the game against the Raiders, he had 6 receptions for 90 yards total, with an average of 15 yards per carry, and then the longest was uh 23, I believe. Yeah, 23 yards.
Yeah, so the consistency of what you were talking about with that, I was like, okay, I'm dealing with Gabriel Davis, who had 57 yards a catch, and De'Ami Brown, who had 52 and a half yards a catch. I
Yeah.
mean, so I was dealing with a lot of, like, very economically enhanced stats
Yeah,
of
I
just,
honestly could have gone Travis Kelsey with the 4 touchdowns, but it's just like, okay, that's a cop out answer there.
yeah, I wasn't really copping out when I said Gabriel Davis, because
Right.
for me, a cop out in that case would have been Josh Allen, but I went with Gabriel Davis because of just
Gabe
the
Davis balled out.
efficiency. Oh yeah, well, De'Ami Brown also broke out, which I think that was a needed breakout for him. But we now go to our Clint Eastwood segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly of this week. I knew what you were trying to
Oh,
do; it just didn't
what?
come.
Yeah, it didn't come through at all, and I'm very
Yeah,
disappointed with
that was
myself. I saw that on the OBS, and it was just like, nope, sorry, we're not gonna let that cringe come through this week.
It's
Wah
just like
wah wah.
it's like
See, I got you, OBS. I got you.
you just got Dikembe Mutombo finger wagged by the by the OBS.
Wah
No,
wah
no,
wah.
no, not today.
Wah wah wah.
All right. So my main good at this point is that there were a lot of entertaining back and forth games pretty much all around this week. If you were not on the edge of your seat for any of the games this week, I mean, granted, the Colts Broncos game was super crappy. But there were a lot of games like beyond that were just like you go through the climb and then all of a sudden as you're seeing scoring going around, you're crossing twists, turns, loops, corkscrews, a helix, just any sort of odd direction that could have went about on a roller coaster. You name it, it was probably done this week in terms of how back and forth these games were going as far as how momentum kept constantly shifting.
That's for
So
darn
what was kind of
sure.
your good thing? What was kind of your good thing this week?
I'm gonna have to say the Raiders' running game because most of the defense I've seen for the Chiefs has been straight up like trying to stop just the in general aspect, and the Raiders like kept on bringing holes for Jacobs, and Jacobs just kept on taking those holes and going for like almost first down yardage every time, probably getting about 6 to 8 yards a carry. And we did not do that as well this week compared to other weeks.
Okay. So what was your bad thing this week? Oh,
Uh,
what? Why did you put this in there? Why did you put your bad in there? Because I already was going to mention something with that a little later on. This is like you're kind of trying to rip a little bit into what I was already doing.
I mean, I can also compromise, or uh, I can
I
improvise.
I know. Yeah, you're probably gonna have to improvise because I'm looking at this. I'm
Let's
like,
go with your bad first.
I think my bad in this situation was I think the Dolphins quarterback situation is kind of under like a weird bad situation as they just had a second quarterback go down with a concussion. Wait, why are you going with the AL wildcard games in a football week 5?
I thought it was just in
what are you
general.
what are you trying to do? I mean, we're talking about football here. I'm like,
um,
what are you doing?
I
If you've got nothing bad that doesn't rip into what I'm already trying to do, saying that my ugly is going to get mentioned later in stud dud of the week.
I'm just gonna have a. I'm just not gonna have a bad this week, and we could
Yeah,
go straight to the
we're
ugly.
not trying to basically go through like the proverbial elephant in the room. I think the Baker Mayfield thing, uh, being out for 2 to 6 weeks that you said for your ugly, that looks more like a bad than an ugly. It's just unfortunate for Carolina while they're in the midst of their already cluster mess of a situation.
Yeah, I don't have an ugly this week. Spence, what's your?
I think kind of our uglies are running hand in hand this week.
Yeah, because I was like, crap.
You
It's okay.
details were missed. Details were missed. Mistakes were made. We live, we learn. Let's just go on to the best game of the week.
All right. So for my best game, I put Chiefs Raiders because it was a very close
I could see
game.
why. because I was very much considering my switch there. However, I went with Vikings Bears. I went with Vikings Bears because that one it took a bit for the Vikings to do it, but they got it done. Took a bit for it to happen, but they were able to rally. And then the worst game this week, we very much said it. I I, I had this thing written down since Friday. Colts Broncos. It was a game that was just so boring and so dead inside that I think none of us were riding on either one of those ponies. And what is your bold take this week, Ruckus?
I am a not very prepared person. That's my bold take. No, I'm just kidding. My bold take is the AFC West
Wrong.
division. What?
I was gonna say you're not wrong.
I apologize, audience. I don't know what happened. Bold take this week is the AFC West division is not as close as you think, as far as how tight it could have been. Because in the beginning of the year, they were like, "Oh, these defenses really upgraded to try to help themselves get over the hump of being the Chiefs or just being better in their division to get up to the first in the AFC West." And I don't think it's that close. I feel like the Chiefs are still gonna get it, but it's still too early to tell, in my opinion.
I just think I'm saying, like, as far as the Broncos go, the wheels on the bus went flat. The Raiders the Raiders just don't just the horseshoe that somebody probably spilled salt over there and just had a horseshoe kind of not go their way. And actually, I think the ugly probably should have been Devontae Adams' shove.
That was one of
Unless you
my
were going to mention that.
duds.
Oh, I didn't mean
That's
to steal your thunder on that.
okay. I didn't mean to steal your thunder on something either, but that is okay. We will just
Yeah,
keep
but
going.
I thought that was where I didn't think you were gonna go the Devonte Adams shove
That's why I didn't put
for the
it in
dud.
there.
I didn't think you were gonna do that because I thought you were gonna continue on your Antonio Brown thing that
Man, there's not a whole lot you need to
apparently
do.
no no because I think the Antonio Brown thing went and got worse with
Well, I'm not
with all
paying
the
attention to
clowning
that
around.
clown, so it is what it is.
um, but um, but I will say my bold take at this point: Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Connell are a QB head coach match made in heaven. Now, hear me out here, or at least let me explain. This is very much a Washington related thing. As Kevin O'Connell was once a coach there at Washington, and Kirk Cousins was playing quarterback under the Shanahan Gruden regimes. So they possibly could have had some time working together as far as a special like that sort of bond and that kind of that side of it just just the history behind it. And Kirk Cousins has just been really like working well with Cousins. And it just looks like it's something that works. Has there been questions on it? Yeah. But has it really been more of a this has worked out more so for the best because of it? Absolutely. it has worked out very well for Kirk Cousins so far. And the Minnesota Vikings, I think, if they continue on this pace that they're on, I think they're a winner. I think they're a winner in the NFC North. I think they'll steal it away from Green Bay.
Yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with because the Packers are kind of like still confused of what they're doing on the receiving end. And Lizard, as I call him, is kind of just been on the fence with his ankle. So
And then, kind of both burning questions for this week were really two that I was kind of looking into, but I think they're both valid questions. And Ruckus, yours that kind of was given to you by me, with Matt Rule being the first head coach firing of the 2022 season. Which coaches currently right now have a higher likelihood of having the feeling of their seat starting to get warmer?
I mean, let's see here. Nathaniel Hackett, maybe.
I think Hackett is definitely one that I think should have anxiety.
Josh McDaniels,
I disagree.
or do you think it's Mike McDaniel? They're not
Mike
related, obviously, but they do have a
right.
same.
Mike McDaniel, I think the player management side of it for health protocols is one thing, but I think the person who was more at fault was was the unaffiliated neurological doctor that kind of gave McDaniel misinformation. If it's fully centered upon that being the problem and McDaniel kind of going up, you could kind of give Mike McDaniel the benefit of the doubt because he's now since handled the Bridgewater side of it differently. I think a benefit of the doubt could be given to Mike McDaniel simply upon the misinformation that was given, but it's hard to tell what really is going to come out of it. It could be too early to tell on Mike McDaniel. I think Ron Rivera's seat is heating up.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about saying Ron Rivera, but I just wasn't sure about the whole situation. And yes, I know he like pretty much had some feuds with Carson Wentz, but I feel like any coach will
Snyder needed
probably
to
have some type of.
really the major issue there is Snyder, but I think Rivera's seat I think should be getting a little more heat, especially after what's going to come out of my next question.
Yeah.
Um, I think if Mike McCarthy does not get a deep run in the postseason, I think McCarthy's seat will get hot. I think it's too early to tell on Lovey, but I think a team that really probably should have some thoughts about having their seat heat up, Indianapolis. I think Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich could have his seat heat up. And that is just due to the ineffectiveness of that offense. You bring in Matt Ryan and you've turned this team absolutely ineffective. I think Dan Campbell and Arthur Smith should be safe.
Arthur
They
Smith
should be
is which coach?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't paid attention to the coaches in a while, but I know Dan Campbell is for the Lions.
Yeah, I think the reason why I think Dan Campbell is safe is because that team I think really is fully behind him. Like they've bought into what he's doing. I just think that maybe Aaron Glenn might need to go. But other than that, I don't see a worry as to what what Dan Campbell's doing.
But we'll have to. They'll probably rule him out here soon, won't they?
Mm, I don't think so. But in speaking of a coach we already previously mentioned with Ron Rivera, is Ron Rivera correct in saying that quarterback, especially in terms of Carson Wentz not being settled well in the Commanders' offense and still learning, as the issue to why the Commanders are so far behind the rest of the NFC East?
Uh, Quick question: Is
Is
Chase?
Ron Rivera's assessment correct?
I feel like there's many aspects, so no. I don't think he's correct because you don't have your star defensive end in Chase Young. Also, you have a lot of holes to fill for just cornerbacks in general. I don't see a whole lot of defense when I see the Commanders play and whatnot. But like I saw the last game where Wentz threw a freaking bomb to Curtis Samuel for a touchdown, and he looked pretty good. So honestly, I don't see it as him being the quarterback as being the issue. I just think the team as a whole needs to step up more.
Very much going to say, not exactly. I don't think that the quarterback is the only issue in Washington. If we're really wanting to put this and bring this really to brass tacks, the real issue is at the very top of the mountain. And that is Daniel Snyder. The frickin' schmuck. Yes, I have a huge disdain for him. Everybody knows this.
I was trying to figure out what the voice you were trying to do was.
Oh no, I just was like grumbling, basically just calling him a schmuck,
Sounded like
which is
Nixon.
exactly what he is. Exactly what he is. He needs to sell the team, like really sell the team. That's ultimately going to be what's going to lead the Commanders back to relevance.
And then
However,
go to his vacation home in Florida.
um never to own a team again, most likely. um but where I'm going with this, the offensive line is a problem. The offensive coordinator, in terms of the proper fit for Carson Wentz in this lineup, is a problem. The defensive back seven is a problem. I mean, St. Juice gotten better? Yes. Are the safeties coming along together? Yes. Has Kendall Fuller been having a great season? Absolutely not. And I think that has kind of hurt, and that's kind of hurt Washington a bit. Have they really been putting in any position for Joey Sly to actually make a single kick? Absolutely not. Is Tressway the problem? Absolutely not. Do I think Carson Wentz is really the problem? It's a defensive coach, and Alex Smith said this best. It's a defensive coach trying to drive the bus about a quarterback when really Carson Wentz has been doing as effectively as he possibly can with the very very garbage hand that he's dealt. A terrible offensive line, weapons that can do a decent job getting the ball in their hand, that with proper timing can get the ball in his hands, but Wentz just can't seem to have enough time in the pocket to really make his throws super crisp and super accurate. And that is ultimately I think, on Scott Turner in terms of, oh, you want to make a big play down the field, but you don't have the right offensive line pieces to be able to do it. And plus, our feet have so many bullet holes in them from the constant Commanders shooting themselves in the foot and not being able to get out of their own way. So there's a lot wrong. There's a lot more than just Carson Wentz being the problem. If Carson Wentz were truly the problem, Ron Rivera would have had buyer's remorse on Wentz a long time ago. Taylor Heineke or Sam Howell would be the starting quarterback right now.
For
If
sure.
if Carson Wentz's quarterback play was truly the issue. And I'm like, yeah, you could, if it were truly the issue, you would already be addressing it right now. And you're not. So let's get into a little bit of the film room and pick some games. All right,
Sounds good to me.
So Ruckus, last week you fell to below 500 as your college run was ultimately what hurt what hurt you heavily. In that you went 2-6. Meanwhile, I ended up finishing at 500 in going 4-4. You're now at 22-26, while I am at 31-17. So the first game that we have on the docket for us this week out of 8 games is number 10 Penn State versus number 5 Michigan.
I'm going Michigan.
Of which I'm going to say, as far as in terms of the fight song, I am also going in saying hail to the victors and taking the Michigan Wolverines. The next one, number 3 Alabama versus number 6 Tennessee.
I'm going to have to say Bama.
Roll Tide. I am taking Alabama. And number 8 Oklahoma State versus number 13 TCU.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say Oklahoma State as well.
Okay, Oklahoma State. So
How
we
about them
have gone,
Cowboys?
well, at least those Cowboys in Stillwater.
Yeah.
All right, so in the NFL this week, we are starting with the Jets and Packers.
And I don't know. I'm going to have to say the Jets because of their hot run that they're on right now.
I think the first thing I want to look at here, that game looks like it is at Lambeau, and Green Bay are 7.5 point favorites. And I am taking the I think I'm going to take the Packers at Lambeau. Vikings and Dolphins. I'm agreeing with taking the Vikings.
Yep.
And you're saying Ravens and Giants. You're going with, though the Ravens are 5.5, even with them being 5.5 point favorites at MetLife. Yeah, I believe that game is at MetLife.
Yeah, but even then, like, I feel like the Ravens have the better talent to go with. Yes, you have Saquon Barkley on the other side, but you can't always go to him, and they don't have a proven tight end or really a receiver, so it's kind of like, well, which one do you trust more?
Wait. Wait, you're saying that the Giants don't have a proven receiver?
I
Hmm.
mean, don't they? Isn't it just Kadarius Toney and
I mean, you have David Sills the fifth, who has currently been in, and he is a former Mountaineer. Then you have, of course, Richie James, Darius Slayton.
that's the only other one I
Um,
can recognize.
yeah, because Sterling Shepard is, yeah, because Sterling Shepard's hurt.
Isn't he out for the
So
year?
yeah, I think yeah, Sterling Shepard's done. But I'm like, okay. I think I'm probably gonna agree with you on this. I think I'm gonna take the Ravens as well. I'm actually gonna take the Ravens. I almost wanted to take the G-men, but I'm gonna go with the
Yeah,
Ravens. And then the Bills Chiefs, I'm actually taking the Bills.
that's a safe bet because the defense has been a little shaky for the Chiefs.
Yep.
And then the Cowboys and Eagles, I can see the Cowboys throwing it away for the against the Eagle, or coming away with it, not throwing away, coming away with the victory against the Eagles. But you never know. It's a rival game, and the Eagles are 5-0, so they'll be 6-0 if they win this one. But they're the last undefeated team, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys beat them. But I'm still going Eagles.
And of course, saying the words of "Fly Eagles Fly." Fly Eagles fly on the road to victory. Fly Eagles fly, score touchdown. 1, 2, 3. Hit them low, hit them high, and watch your Eagles fly on the road to victory. And I say this: Eagles, Eagles, as they will beat the Dallas Cowboys and finally give Cooper Rush a loss.
And maybe Jerry Jones pops a vein.
Oh, maybe, but it's hard to tell. And what we have coming up is our color commentary. This formerly known as Setting the Lineup weekly segment. Ruckus and I have created scenarios and we debate decisions. Any suggestions that you have, kind of just let us know. This color commentary for us is called Fourth Down. The main thing here is that these statements here, we are assessing the situation and we decide whether we're going to buy into it. And in this case, are we saying we're going to go for it, or you're not sold on it, which means you're punting. The first one, the Denver Broncos have received a lemon of a quarterback, and his name is Russell Wilson, resulting in Seattle winning the trade due to the success Geno Smith is having this season as a Seahawk.
Um, I'm not sold on it.
You're gonna punt.
Yeah, I'm not
What?
sold on it.
What has you punting?
Again, even though the media is trying to be like, hey, like this situation was bad and all, it could be a whole lot worse. You could have had Russell Wilson blow a leg. You could have had Nathaniel Hackett be a better coach and be able to manage time better. But all in all, I feel like Geno Smith has gotten into a good start, but I feel like that greatness is gonna fade over time. There's still a long season ahead. We're about a third of the way through the season, and we're having all this drama. But I feel like it's going. People are going to. These teams are going to come back, either good or worse. And right now, I think it's too early. Still, even though it's week 6. I'm gonna have to say punt.
I think I think I'm also going to say punt as well. However, I think the distance on this down is closer than people think. This is probably like at week 1 this was like fourth and long and we were definitely punting on it. But this is like one of those 50-50. Like it really is more 50-50 right now.
And especially because Geno Smith, like you don't know how long Geno's gonna be going in the league. Yet you don't know the same for Russ either. But Russ just signed a big 5-year contract with the Broncos, but it doesn't mean he's gonna like stay there for that long. But I mean, he could turn it around. He just got there, and I think he just needs more time.
Yeah. I think it's too early to tell because I think that some patience is definitely going to apply here. Sticking with Seattle. The Seattle Mariners are getting hot at the right time to make a deep playoff run.
We're going for it, coach.
You're going to go for it.
Especially when they showed what they showed against the Blue Jays, and I thought the Blue Jays were going to tie the series, and then the Mariners came and beat them, and like tied it, and then beat them later in the game. I was like, damn. And then, obviously, ALDS right now, last game I saw, they uh, got snuck up on against the Astros, and the Astros beat them in extras. But like, it's always a very intense postseason, even though the wild card for the AL was kind of boring. But that's just
Yeah,
how it starts. It simmers
yeah,
and
they're
then it gets to a
playing.
boil.
Yeah, and they don't play again until tomorrow, which is game 2. So,
That's what I was confused about. I was like, did they? Because like sometimes they'll stretch out like the days that they play for the AL and NL as well.
yeah. But I think that was because they wanted to start everything at the same time, but then each team is going to get an extra day somewhere along the way anyway.
Yeah.
So they wanted to try and take up as little TV as they possibly could.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one here, the Tua Tagovailoa debacle and the rising number of concussion protocol injuries this season, especially over the past couple of weeks, will change the sport of football and how head and neck injuries are handled, especially in the NFL, primarily in the NFL, as we know it. And I think at this point, because there's now a 5-stage process in concussion protocol, this kind of speaks for itself. It's already being gone for.
Yeah, especially if you don't want to deal with more lawsuits in the future over something that is a broken aspect of it. You want to toughen it up rather than just letting people through.
Okay. Lamar Jackson is proving that he can be a quarterback that can win a tough game, especially in January. And this is kind of after his victory against against the Bengals this past Sunday.
You mean Justin Tucker's victory?
Well, Lamar Jackson had to orchestrate the drive.
I'm gonna have to say. I'm gonna say punt because it's still really early to tell. Yes, I'm talking about early in the season, but also just early in his postseason like experience. Like the last time he touched the postseason and his team had a very good record to where they had a bye, they lost that game against the Titans.
Yeah, and that was just because that defense refused to be able to tackle Derrick Henry. We kind of saw that one coming.
Right.
I I honestly think that Lamar
But
over
it
the
didn't help.
years
It didn't help because
it
he's not really a
showed it.
throwing quarterback.
Yeah, I think that I think the down distance is creeping closer, but I think at this point right now it is still at a puntable situation. But the down distance on this is creeping closer. I want to see him do one before I want to see him get one like that in a playoff situation before really saying I would go for it.
Right.
Okay. The NFC East is currently the best division in football.
So that's the Cowboys.
This is the Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, Commanders. The Cowboys, Giants are 4-1. The Eagles are 5-0, and you have the Commanders at 1-4.
I'm gonna say punt.
Oh, I like this is a shock. This is a shock, but I'm not surprised out of you for saying punt because I too am punting. Because I'm sorry, the schedules that have kind of come out for this NFC East team, these NFC East teams, at this point right now, have been that Charmin Ultra Soft, Little Debbie Cupcake, Foo schedule that is just it feels like it should be easy because you've got relaxed, like you've got yourself like a little bit more in a relaxed situation in terms of the teams you're playing.
Yeah, and like a couple years back, and even to like now, like that whole division was a joke. Kind
Yeah,
of just
you
like
have the entire NFC North and the entire AFC South. The NFC North is known for being like a lightweight division at this point. The AFC South has shown themselves to be a little bit more lightweight. So you're not really having too many heavyweight hitters. Unless you're like the Cowboys or the Eagles where you're landing basically the Ravens or the Bengals type deal. You're not like hurting yourself that much in terms of those certain losses, and for the better part of it right now, really the division has not spent a ton of time beating each other up
yeah,
at this point. So right now, I think those records just are like it's just a bunch of padding. Like it's basically like it's basically it's like the soft cushions that you're on like when you're trying to do a stunt jump. It's like that inflatable like crash pad. Like the inflatable crash pad for the stunt jumps. That's kind of right now what these records right now for those teams that are sitting up high are.
yeah. I'm still kind of surprised that the Eagles are as high as they are, but at the same time, like they don't have as hard of a difficulty of a schedule. But they're also
Um,
proving it by showing that their defense is kicking butt.
I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles have played more somebodies than the Commanders and Giants. Commanders, Giants, and Cowboys kind of put together at this point because the Lions they played like somebodies in that game. The Vikings didn't have a great game. The Jaguars played like somebodies. The Cardinals kind of had themselves kind of show up like as if they weren't a joke. And also, I forgot to mention this earlier as far as coaches that I really think that their seats should be getting a little warmer. Cliff Kingsbury, anybody? I I accidentally forgot about that, and I probably
Yeah, I
should have
did
mentioned it.
too, but it is
Cliff
what it
Kingsbury,
is.
I think Cliff Kingsbury is definitely one of them. Travis Kelsey is an all-time great tight end.
Whew, that's a. It's. I'm gonna have to say punt. Yes, you're hearing that from a
What?
Chiefs fan.
What?
You're gonna have to say. I'm gonna have to
Wait,
say Tony G is the greatest of all time currently.
it, it it's it's not talking about the greatest tight end of all time.
Travis Kelsey is an all-time great tight end.
Is an all-time great tight end. This is not saying the greatest tight end of all time. There's a difference.
Okay, So
There is a difference here.
in reading that,
You're
I
reading
read.
the question. You're reading the question, pushing for more than what it was asking for.
So I'm going to redact my statement and resign from this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to redact my statement and say that is a go for it. Because
Yeah,
yes,
I'm
he
definitely going for
is
that.
one of the greater ones. I read it as, oh crap, he's the greatest tight end of all time, like the GOAT, not like all time. I was
No,
like, what?
no, I said an all-time great tight end. So this kind of goes along the lines of talking about Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp, um, oh,
Rob
Rob
Gronkowski,
Gronkowski,
Tony G.
Rob Gronkowski. I already said Tony Gonzalez.
Okay, my B. Antonio Gates.
Yeah, I think Antonio Gates fits this conversation. Kellen Winslow Sr. fits that conversation. I think I think it's like Matt. I think it was Mackey of the Colts. I think fits that. Um, I do not, as much as Dallas Clark. I think could be he. I don't think he fits.
Jimmy Graham from Green Bay.
I don't think you got enough like great seasons out of it, but I think Jimmy Graham's best years were actually with Drew Brees in New Orleans.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah, I just don't know if we got enough of them out of him. Okay. Another one here I'm going to say. There are teams in the NFL currently right now that are still playing tougher than their record shows.
I'm gonna have to say yes. Go for it. That is true.
Yeah. And I'm going to say go for it. And who are the ones you're definitely saying are in that category?
I'm gonna have to definitely say the Chiefs, Bills. I'm gonna also have to say the
Wait.
Eagles.
Tougher than the record shows.
Okay, my bad.
This is where you. I mean, the Bills 4-1. Yeah, they're playing as advertised. They're playing as advertised. I mean, right now I would say yeah, the Jets are playing better than advertised, but I'm talking like a team that may be like not as high on record, but yet they're still kind of playing like super tough.
Right. So I'm gonna have to definitely go with the Bills and the Eagles.
Well, I mean, the Eagles are undefeated.
Yeah, but like
But
you could uh so you could definitely be
so
like,
you could say
hey,
with
like their
them
schedule
that
was not as
they're
hard.
not playing. Yeah, but then also with you saying like those teams playing as high, like at that high, you're saying like they're not playing as good as what their record shows. I'm gonna say yeah, the Las Vegas Raiders, they may be 1-4, but they are playing tougher, that they're playing better than what their 1-4 record shows.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions, for the most part, minus the Patriots game, they're 1-4, but they're playing tougher than that. They were generally playing tougher than that 1-4 record. Atlanta, they're 2-3, but they're playing tougher than that 2-3 record. I mean, all these teams that are like 2-3 in the NFC West, I mean, Arizona showed that they were playing a little tougher than what they were showing. You've got you kind of got Cleveland sitting there 2-3, Cincinnati sitting there at 2-3. I mean, you've got teams that are really, I think, they're playing a little better than what their record shows, but some of that could be just as simple as just not getting a certain break to go their way. I think we definitely see that being the case. And last but not least, there will be a major upset in the MLB Division Series round.
I'm gonna have to say, go for it. Yes.
And which one are you leaning toward? Which one are you leaning toward as being an upset? Because you have the Phillies, Braves, Mariners, Astros, Yankees, Guardians, and Padres, Dodgers.
I feel like the easiest one would be the Phillies and Braves, but it's kind of hard to, because like, would it really be a major upset if the Padres beat the Dodgers?
I,
Well,
you know what I'm actually going to say with that? I think that's actually a yes. I actually believe that the San Diego Padres beating the Los Angeles Dodgers would be a major upset.
but in all honesty, I'm gonna have to say the Braves and the Phillies. I feel like the Phillies are gonna come rolling through. And yes,
That series,
they just tied the series, but like
yeah,
that first game was pretty ugly for the
yeah,
Braves.
that series is currently tied at 1. And it looks like actually the Padres Dodgers series is about to be tied at 1. As the Padres are currently up 5-3 in the bottom of the ninth and nobody out. And actually one out with no, nobody out. No, it's nobody out because it looks like they're starting with Josh Hader pitching to Mookie Betts for a 4-out save. So that's a big step, especially if the Padres can hang on to that 2-run lead. But I'm thinking that the Guardians, especially if they can work their way, because I think yesterday they threw. Yeah, the Guardians right now are not even at the top of their rotation, and they're throwing Bieber against Nestor tomorrow. So I'm really thinking that, and it'll be Castillo versus Valdez on Thursday as well for the Mariners Astros series. So I think those series are going to hang around for a while. But I am probably going to say if there is one that really sticks out, I think it's going to be the Padres over the Dodgers or the Guardians over the Yankees.
Yeah, I saw that one too, and uh, the Guardians show a lot of promise, but when it was actually supposed to count, the Yankees took over.
Yep. But with that, are we going to say, are we ready for our primetime game?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so our primetime game this week is that we each side we have deal or no deal. Ruckus and I will each have a deal or no deal game set up for each other. The goal is to get the quarterback who will throw for the most fantasy points based on the ruling of 20 yards a point for passing, 10 yards a point for rushing, touchdowns being worth 6, and you lose 3 points for any turnover being an interception or a fumble lost. Time sacked is not a penalty. There's no penalty for time sacked. There are 10 quarterbacks who will currently be inside the cases, and any quarterbacks within the realm that have already been picked out of the cases that you have, and also quarterbacks are not among that are not among the 10 that we have here are up for being set as deals. So here are the 10 that we have inside the cases. Patrick Mahomes. We have Patrick Mahomes against the Bills. Josh Allen against the Chiefs. Josh Allen against the Chiefs. Justin Herbert against the Broncos. Carson Wentz against the Bears. Jacoby Brissett against the Patriots. Matt Ryan against the Jaguars, Russell Wilson against the Chargers, Kirk Cousins against the Dolphins, Jalen Hurts against the Cowboys, or Tom Brady. Or Tom Brady against the Steelers. All right, so
Wait, isn't
with
Brissett a Brown?
yes, Jacoby Brissett's a Brown. The Browns are playing the Patriots.
You just said Steelers. Tom Brady
That was for
versus.
Tom. That was
Uh,
for Tom Brady.
I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. So the question is, Ruckus. We're gonna start with my round. We're gonna start with my round for you. What case are you picking?
Um, let's go Matt Ryan.
Oh no. You're picking 1 through 10.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, you're picking 1 through 10. These are the quarterbacks inside the cases. Was what I
Oh,
unveiled.
so I'm gonna say 4.
4. Okay. All right. All right. So you have number 4. My question to you, Ruckus, is which 3 cases are you going to pick?
And these are the players.
And these are the ones that you are eliminating.
Okay. Um,
You're taking 3 cases.
Tom Brady.
Oh no, you have to give numbers.
Oh, my.
You're
Okay.
giving You're giving numbers, not quarterbacks.
Okay, my bad.
The reason why I said the quarterbacks inside the case, the reason why I was talking the quarterbacks inside the cases, is because you're talking like those are the ones that are inside the cases. You're picking the numbers that we had to randomize these at the beginning of the game.
Okay, my bad, my bad. So I already have 4, so I'm trying to eliminate. I'm gonna try to eliminate 10, 6, 2.
Okay, so with number 10, you got rid of Russell Wilson. With number 6, you got rid of Carson Wentz. And with number 2, you got rid of Tom Brady. So what you have left, you have eliminated 3 solid quarterbacks. And here is your first deal. I am going I'm going to look at this and say I am going to try and give you initially Matt Stafford against the Packers or against the Panthers.
No deal.
All right, so you've said no deal on that. You now go to eliminate 2 cases.
So I just need to eliminate 2. So I'm gonna
You are eliminating.
eliminate. I'm gonna eliminate. Um, how about 9 and 3?
Okay, so with that, number 9, you got rid of Justin Herbert. Number 3, you got rid of Kirk Cousins. So this round, I am going to give you Lamar Jackson against the Giants.
Um.
Lamar Jackson against the Giants.
I'm gonna say no deal again.
Okay. All right. Two more cases.
8 and 8 and 2.
You've already gotten rid of two.
Um. And I already got rid of 6, correct or no?
Yes, 6 is already gone.
So I'm gonna go with 8 and 1.
Okay, so you got rid of Jacoby Brissett and Jalen Hurts. Let's see here. Joe Burrow against the Saints.
Is this the last one?
No. No, you'll have one more which you get to take out one case.
I'm gonna say no deal.
All right, you're going to go no deal. All right. All right, one case.
What's my last case?
You have 4, 5, or 7.
I just took out 7.
No, you didn't. You took out 8. You took out 1 and 8.
Okay. Um, let's do 7.
All right. You just took out Matt Ryan. And now I am going to give you. I think I'm going to try and. I think I'm going to try and give you one of them inside of a case that you already have opened. Because I can do that. Let's see if this deal is a little more enticing than what we think it is. Tom Brady against the Steelers.
No deal.
All right. So now the question is do you want to keep your case or do you want to swap it?
Let's keep it.
All right. So Ruckus, you will have Josh Allen.
Hell yeah.
The case you passed up was Patrick Mahomes.
Oh.
Yep. So you will have. All right. So. All right. So now I get to decide between the number of 1 through 10 for me. I'm going to take case number 6 to start.
Okay.
All right. And then I'm going to eliminate cases 1, 9, and 3.
Give me a second.
Yeah, you do not let me know what is in my initial case of 6.
So, you said which ones that you're taking out?
1, 9, and 3.
Okay. Um, All right. So in case number 9, this quarterback was
Well, you just let me know what's inside the case.
okay. Quarterback. Case number 9 has Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, okay. Case number one,
Case number 1 had Carson Wentz,
okay.
and case number 3 had Russell Wilson.
Okay. All right. So what is my first deal?
You're Can I do I have to like say the matchup and everything, or could I just say the quarterback?
You could say, well, pretty much what you'll say is you'll have quarterback against quarterback against. Yeah, and you can let me know who they're playing.
Because if what if I don't is the problem?
Um I mean, if you don't, I'll obviously look up the information. Like I'll obviously know that I can look up the information.
All right, I have so for this deal or no deal, I have Aaron Rodgers versus the Jets.
Rodgers versus the Jets. I still have Josh Allen on the board, and I still have Patrick Mahomes on the board. I also feel very good about Tom Brady, especially with having Mike Evans back. Hmm. I'm gonna play it safe here. No deal.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna say
All right.
no deal on that. Hmm. 4, 10, 2.
So as follows, I you have eliminated Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, and
Oh, wait. So 4 had. So Tom Brady had. Wait. So who was in case 4?
um I believe it was Carson Wentz.
No, no, no. Carson Wentz was in case 1.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I was, and then 9 was Tom Brady, right?
Do not write down your cases. I'm surprised you didn't type out your cases.
I didn't know, to be honest with you. Um, all right, so
So I know I have Russell Wilson eliminated, Carson Wentz eliminated. I have whoever was in my case, which is case 6, who I don't know, and you said Jalen Hurts was eliminated.
okay, so number 9 was Jalen. My bad.
Yeah, so Jalen
I
Hurts.
so number 4.
So number 4 was
All right, so number 4 is Matt Ryan.
okay. I feel good about that.
Um,
You can give me either 2 or 10.
okay. Number 10, I'll say Jacoby Brissett,
Okay. And 2.
and then 2, we're gonna go with Kirk Cousins.
So the deal And so basically, what I have is that I still have Tom Brady, I still have Josh Allen, I still have Patrick Mahomes. Oh wait, why I should have taken out two cases there, not three, but so the rest of these will be one case.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
Yeah, it should have been two cases this round.
All
But
right, so your deal will be
I have a funny feeling it's probably gonna be Lamar Jackson against the Giants. Seeing as though I still have Justin Herbert, I still have Josh Allen, I still have Patrick Mahomes, and
all right. Here is your deal. It
Tom Brady.
is Justin Herbert versus the Broncos.
Why are you giving me Justin Herbert as a deal when I still have Justin Herbert still as an available case? Um, that's the first question I'm gonna give you. Because I still have Mahomes, Herbert, Allen, Brady. Yeah, because remember, I'm down to four cases. Because I because you should have been down to five because I should have been down to five cases and I took an extra case.
All right, do you want me to
Um
redo that one then?
um no, I still have Herbert in a case, so I'm gonna say no deal.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no deal on that, and then I'm gonna take out case number. I'm trying to think. So I still have
You still have two. Oh, wait, no, you don't. You
no. I
have.
took out two.
You have.
I still have 5, 7. Should still have
Yep.
five,
Okay.
7, and 8. I think I have 5, 7, and 8. No, no, yeah, that's right. 5, 7, and 8.
Yeah, because 6 is what you have currently.
Yep. 8. Let's say case 8.
All right. So for your eighth one,
So case 8, and then this will lead into the next deal.
we're gonna go. You're going to have drum roll.
So I lose
You're gonna lose Herbert.
Herbert. Okay, fine. So that means my three remaining cases are either Mahomes, Allen, or Brady.
All right.
So I
So
know
your
my.
deal.
Problem is, this deal's got to be really, really freaking sweet.
All right. Your deal is Lamar Jackson and the Ravens against the Giants.
I knew I was gonna get Lamar Jackson at some point. I knew I was gonna get Lamar Jackson at some point. How did I figure that I was gonna get Lamar Jackson? Um. Oh wow, this would have been a good point for you to give me. This almost would have been a good point for you to give me Jalen Hurts, but uh, this would have been a good point for me to get Jalen Hurts. That could have been a really good point for me to get Kyler Murray. Um, so you're gonna try and give me Lamar Jackson. No deal.
Right. What's the next case you want to take away?
5.
So for that one,
Because I know that one of those next couple of cases is going to hurt.
um, this one is Josh Allen.
Yeah, I figured. I figured, and I'm actually happy with really honestly either of those. Either of
All
those. But
right.
let's see what kind of deal you give me though.
Um.
'Cause I'm sorry, I think there's almost only one quarterback that kind of sweetens the deal enough for this, and it would end up with us having an absolute tie.
All right.
And the only reason why I say with an absolute tie is the only quarterback that probably is sweet enough to entice the deal here would have been the one I just took out.
All right. It's so this is Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers against the Falcons.
What the? And you're giving me Jimmy G
Yep.
when when I have Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes available to me.
Uh-huh.
Deal is a bunch of hot dog dog water. No deal. No deal. I'm sitting on Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, and
All
you give
right.
me Jimmy Garoppolo.
All right. Which one do you want? Which case do you want to swap with?
I feel like I can't go wrong with either one. I'm keeping the case.
Well, case number 6 had Tom Brady.
I really couldn't go wrong with either one because it's Tom Brady against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I really couldn't have gone wrong. And I'm shocked that you put Patrick Mahomes in number 7. Because I almost swapped that case.
Yeah, and I also just didn't know if you were supposed to prepare for it in the beginning, but that is my fault.
I did, yeah, what I did is I did my. Oh, yeah, and the funny thing is that I randomized it, and on mine, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes were next to each other. And that was just how my quarterbacks randomized.
Yeah, that's why
All right.
like the whole time I was like, shit, I need to like come up with the improv fast, like, but also keep track of which quarterback. I don't know. It's a news thing. I liked it. I'm glad we had fun.
I think this is one we should do more often.
Yeah.
And I think because this one we've picked our stuff, now we get to see the games turn out, and then we figure out where we go from there.
Yeah.
And
That's
and
sure.
who wins, and we can kind of throw that in there as the next thing, and this could be a very good future primetime game. The key thing that I think you might need to do is just make sure that you have is just make
Structure.
sure you have your case make sure you have your cases prepared.
Yeah, because I did not.
All right. So, Ruckus, what is your since we're now going into the stud of the week? What is your stud of the week?
All right, so this one's a pretty easy one. This one I was actually prepared for out of everything else. um, my stud is Travis Kelsey's fourth touchdown game against the Raiders, even though he only received for 24 yards total through that whole game. It was all through the red zone for those touchdowns.
All right. My my stud is My stud, actually, I'm going to have an honorable mention to start. And I am actually going to the sport of golf for this. An honorable mention goes to Patrick Cantlay for coming within just a single stroke of shooting a 59 in the third round of the Shriners Children's Open at TPC Summerlin, shooting his first round of 60 in his pro career, this also being his first since being a 19-year-old amateur in the 2011 Travelers Championship at TPC River Highlands, of which he did this just after finishing his freshman year at UCLA. So pretty much the second time shooting 60 ever in his life, he did this past weekend in a professional tournament. But my stud for this week, and I died laughing watching this. ESPN analyst and I believe former NFL cornerback Dominique Foxworth for impersonating the playmaker Michael Irvin. Trust me, if you watch Dominique Foxworth do this, everybody in the studio is just lost it. And production was even telling Greeny, like, try and get it going, try and get it going, keep things moving, and it's like, and Greeny just could not keep it moving because they were just laughing too hard. And yes, the impersonation was of Michael Irvin.
Yeah, I need to watch it sometime.
Oh my gosh! Like, I died laughing watching it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think our duds definitely were from this weekend in football, and for two different reasons.
All right, you want me to go first, or you go first?
Yep, go first.
All right, so this was going to be an ugly segment, but there was a whole lot of stuff that I just couldn't think of at the time. So here is my dud. This one is Devontae Adams shoving a photographer and getting into a lawsuit after the losing to the Chiefs by 1 point, going into the locker room. Just bonehead.
Devontae Adams
just bonehead.
Just a credentialed news reporter. He just goes yeet, yeet with a push.
I feel bad for that reporter, and I hope he gets the proper treatment he needs for that ass whooping that he got between him and the ground. Like, all power to him.
And my dud was also my ugly. The NFL's interpretation of roughing the passer, as there were a couple of controversial calls with the Grady Jarrett one on Tom Brady, which definitely was not roughing the passer. And then the Chris Jones one on Derek Carr. Okay. Chris Jones eventually had the ball. Momentum was carrying him. He was trying to slam the brakes on his fall. Landed on him. I could see where the referees decided to throw the flag. But for crying out loud, Chris Jones had the football. Chris Jones was trying to keep going and just couldn't. And had absolutely nowhere to go, and his momentum was not going to carry him away from Derek Carr. Why is this roughing the passer? It looked more like a freak accident.
I know my name is not Karen, but I would like to still see the manager.
Oh,
Goodell, we need to have a talk.
Yeah, because that just it was it's been questionable all weekend.
Also, Aikman put it in a good amount of words, I guess you could say, where he was saying like they need to take off the dresses.
Oh
And
man, that was
it's just like, yeah, I can see the point. Like, yeah, they need to like quit messing around with this or like being ridiculous with this. Like, obviously that was a sack, and the one for Brady was also a sack. But at the end of the day, when a ref calls a rough call like that, yes, you're gonna get repercussions when it comes to the fans yelling at you and the coaches and everybody in the media telling you that that was a bad call. But at the end of the
and
day, the game has been played, and just it'll be a while before things simmer down on this topic, but they need to get something figured out.
and the chances of your Super Bowl nod going na 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 hey 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 goodbye.
No, it's kind of like the scenario of Devonte Adams and that photographer. It's just the everybody in the media and Goodell just shoves them off, and then the photographers, the refs.
That wasn't completely where I was going with that. I was just saying that their chances of officiating deeper into the season were going to go kaput.
Yeah, that's just sad that that happened, but it is what it is.
Yep. All right, Ruckus, go ahead and take us out.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I apologize for not being very prepared, but it is what it is.
I think that just made. I think that only just added to the humor element of what was going on for that random moment of the show,
Yeah, and let's be honest.
which kind of like has now become a running. It's going to become a running gag.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just felt really bad, and I still kind of feel bad, but at the same time, it is what it is. We learned from it. We experienced it.
Don't, because I think it's gonna. Because I think anytime you forget, it's gonna be probably even funnier than the last one most of the time.
Don't tempt me.
I wouldn't put it
Anyways.
past you.
All right, this has been the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. I am Ruckus.
And I'm sped as the menace.
Y'all have a good one. We'll see you. We'll see you next week, and also stay classy out there.
Deuce.